on the defensive side of the football, because that's going to be the strength of this Carolina football team. You start talking about guys like J.J. Enagbare, Jordan Strawn, Jordan Birch, Zach Pickens, Tonka Hemingway, Rick Sandage, other guys that are probably slipping my mind right now. Debo Williams, the transfer, comes in. He's probably going to take over that role that Ernest Jones had. Sherrod Green, Mo Kaba. The front seven for South Carolina, no doubt, is going to be the strength and what they lean on, because like I said, Jake, the secondary, a retooled secondary. I'm not sure if you knew this. Cam Smith is your leading returning defensive back, the most tenured defensive back. He has 3 career starts. So it is a very much green defensive back room. Like you said, I'm really interested, too, to see what does South going to do. They sort of sell out with pressure or say, okay, our 4 are good enough to get there. When you look at the Gamecocks defensive line, defensive front specifically, though, guys you like, what do you see? I'm really high on this group. Again, Enagbare, I think, is going to have a monster year, and I think we're finally going to see guys like Birch and Pickens hit their potential. 2 guys that were 5-star prospects, big-time prospects that literally everybody in this conference wanted. What do you see from that group of guys specifically?
Well, it's funny. We keep talking about the strengths. And if I'm a South Carolina fan, something that I'm excited about is the strength really on offense and defense really looks up front to me with what they are returning and experience. I know they lost a little to the NFL, but if you're going to be good anywhere, you want to be good up front, because that solves a lot of problems in the back end. Because again, you don't want to have to sell out. You want to just get there with 4. You cannot find a defensive coach in the world that would not rather be able to rush the passer with success with 4 guys and say, no, we're just going to bring everybody all the time, whatever. Because again, the more plays you have to go down the field, the less chance you have of scoring. It's just math. It is what it is. But when you're running a 4-2-5, the 2 backers in the middle have to be really good. But to me, without a doubt, outside of being good up front, the position that you have to have a dude at in the 4-2-5 is the nickel, because you've got to be able to do multiple things. That guy's got to be able to help against the run. He's got to be able to, even if you're a zone team, he's got to be able to get hands on guys going to the next level. He's got to be able to push to number 1 on the hitch. If you go man, he's got to be able to cover the slot or play man on man. And it's hard to find dual threat guys like that. And if you're able to have a guy in that spot, it takes a ton of pressure off of you from a play calling standpoint, because the menu is open. It's like having a tight end. The nickel is a direct reflection defensively of having a tight end that can block and run routes and catch the ball. If you have a nickel that can do that, you really nullify a lot of matchups. And size sometimes with these tight ends give them matchups, and I understand that. But it's so important to have a guy that can do both. And if you can solve that question, it really marries. It's the connector of the secondary and the defensive line. But I think you will see South Carolina be one of the better teams defensively up front on the defensive line. And all they need is a little momentum. That's because they have talent. You went down the list. Like I said, I love the Georgia State transfer, Straw. I really think that South Carolina at the end of the day can lean on that front 7, especially early in the season. Because listen, it's not going to be gorgeous on offense early in the season. I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody that. The defense is going to have to hold up their end of the bargain maybe a little bit more early. But I think they have some personnel in the front 7 to do that. The question is, if for some reason they're not dominant in the pass rush, does the defensive backfield have enough talent and ability to be able to not give up the huge play? Because that's what hurts South Carolina, giving up the huge play. There's nothing wrong sometimes with giving up 15-yard runs or 25-yard passes. But when those inside zones go for 70 and that screen goes for 80 and they're getting jump balls left and right from the 40 in, that's when you start looking up at the scoreboard going, oh no, here we go again. So I think those are the things you have to look at. Can you get there with 4? Are we solidified at nickel? And those are the questions going in. And I think there's a good chance they will be.